Hello, so I just wanted to say, I've been watching loads of Byler things because obviously Stranger Things is coming out. There's a lot of people that have started watching like season one. Some people are starting to watch the whole show again, and some people are watching it like for the first time. I think that's pretty cool. So I've been trying to like see random things, but like I've been seeing like Byler videos. Like I watched some after season 4 came out, and that's when I finally like kind of started liking Byler. Because before that, I didn't really understand. Obviously I never really thought about Byler being a thing. I don't know when it was. I think it was like, was it season 3 or season 4? No, I think it was season 4 because season 3 was when I was like obsessed with what's his name? The one who played Billy. That's when I was obsessed with him. Like not his character per se, but his acting as the character. Like when he was like in the scenes as like the, was it the mind flayer? Yeah, the thing anyway. He was like great. He was so good in that freaking role, y'all. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I've been watching so many Byler things, and I didn't realize how many times Eleven and like Will had like arguments with Mike, where Mike didn't view, like literally Eleven broke up with Mike, and then the same day, was it the same day? Yeah, it was the same day, the same episode where Will was like wanting to play those games, and they were just like, Lucas and Mike were talking about like the breakup stuff, and the all that stuff was happening. I never thought about this in any other way apart from like Mike being straight and everything. But like the way that he reacted to after he shouted at Will, like, it's not my fault you don't like girls. And then the way he reacted to after Eleven broke up with him, like he didn't feel bad. He didn't like really, care too much about when she broke up with him. He was just kind of like, you know, he was just kind of like shook, and then that was it really. Like obviously he was kind of like not wanting to play that game with Will, but like still it's a whole different thing. Like, and then when that, with the argument with like he goes home after that 11 fight, you know what I mean? After 11 breaks up with him, he just goes home. Whereas when he has that fight with Will, he literally follows him. Like he goes, he gets Lucas, and then they go to his house, and then like Will is destroying his fort, and then Mike, finds him where the fort is and stuff. It's just insane to me, y'all, that like there's another thing like that as well in season 4 too. I think that was in season 3, right? That scene, those scenes anyway. And I think in season 4 when it happens, it's the like Mike is being so weird that entire season really. So I think the only way they can make that season make any sense is if they make him either bi or like, well, he'd have to be bi, right? Because there's no way he can be gay, because like he obviously did like 11, but they're just not working out anymore. Like I really do feel like 11 and him shouldn't end up being together anyway by the end, because they're really not working. Like you can see that, you know what I mean? But yeah, I would say, sorry, I've got like an eyelash in my eye. She confronts him because all he ever says is from, and like from Mike, he never says love, and he never says it, even when he's shouting and saying like, I say it. He never actually says it even in that time. He never says I love you, and the only time he does is at the end when Will is telling him what to say essentially, right? And he's kind of just saying what Will said to him in the speech in the van, and like Jonathan's watching that happen, and I'm pretty sure Jonathan, I mean, he does know, because obviously he like tells Will that nothing will ever change, like he will always be his brother, he will always love him the same. So I love that scene as well. That was one of my favorite like Jonathan scenes for season 4, because honestly he had so many bad scenes. But yeah, they ruined a lot of things in season 4, to be honest. So the thing that I would say is, if they don't make Mike like at least some kind of queer, then he's gonna look like an actual jerk, you know what I mean? Because even though they make up, obviously, like him and Will, they have that really good scene where they make up, and every single time the makeup scenes between like Will and Mike and versus like 11 and Mike is so different. Like a lot of the time the problems seem to be still there when 11 and Mike like actually make up or whatever. Like a lot of the time they don't actually make up, they just end up being okay. They don't really actually say anything to each other too much. But like or they just like kiss, or they just hug or whatever, and then they move on. Whereas Mike and Will always have a really good like heart-to-heart scene.
Packed already? Yeah, I mean, I never really unpacked.
Also, this is such an interesting scene to me. The fact that he says that he never really unpacked, just because I don't really remember if he stayed in Eleven's room or if he stayed in Will's room. But either way, the way that he's, well, because he's bringing his bag away, right? It seems like he would have shared Elle's room, but it just shows that like he didn't feel comfortable in that room. Like he didn't feel like he like belonged there. Like he was. It's like he was like just daring to get away. The fact that he didn't unpack anything, that's kind of crazy, you know what I mean? But then again, he could have only just got there. Like I don't actually remember how many days he'd been there. I think it was probably only like maybe 1 or 2 nights. But even then, that's crazy that because they definitely slept there at least once. But that's just insane to me.
Thanks, by the way.
For what?
For knocking some sense into me. I mean, I was being a total self-pitying idiot.
I didn't say it.
You didn't have to.
Y'all, are we gonna sit here and pretend that we don't see the signs here? Like the way they're looking at each other first of all, and the way that he says he doesn't even have to like he doesn't even have to say it. Like Will doesn't even have to say it. Mike already knows. It's just so insane. Like they just have such a good relationship. Whereas with Elle and Mike, like a lot of the time it's Elle that has to tell Mike either what to say or like what's wrong. But Mike always knows when it's with Will, you know what I mean? A lot of the time, like, he already knows. Like, he already knows if he's messed up, like, in the season 3 scene where, you know, he says to Will, because he, like, shouts at him, he says, you know, about not liking girls. It's so, like, straight after that, he knows he did wrong, and then he goes with Lucas to Will's place, you know, straight away. Like, not even, like, he didn't even wait for, like, a second or whatever. He literally went straight there. Whereas with Elle, he never goes after her. Like, I don't think in any kind of scene he ever goes after her. I think the only time was like when she was actually being taken away, and he's just like following along while she's being, you know, while she's being taken away, and she's just being taken away into that van, you know, and he's just standing there on the road. But obviously he's not actually just running after her. Like if this was Will, you know that he'd be putting up so much of a fight and literally not letting them take him. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just so interesting the way their relationships are so different. Like, it's crazy. Like, he was literally saying that Lucas, Dustin and Max aren't the same as, like, Will. Like, him, you know, him being here is strange because, like, or him not being in, you know, where they lived, like him and Will have like a different relationship than even their friends, you know what I mean?
And I mean, you know, Max and Lucas and Dustin, they're great. They're great. It's just, it's Hawkins. It's not the same without you. I don't know, maybe I feel like I lost you or something. Does that make sense?
It's just the way that he thinks he lost him. Like, why did he think he lost him? You know what I mean? Like, I also find it so interesting because in reality, you'd be, if it was like, if it was like somebody, like, I don't know, like, it's so interesting the way that Mike thinks about Will and then thinks about 11. Like, the fact that he could never say any of this type of thing to 11 is crazy to me because, like, 11 is, like, this is the type of conversation you would have with your partner. You know what I mean? Even when I watched season 4 reactions, some people were like, why is Will, you know, being like this? Or why is this scene so, like, coded as, like, a couple? Because they really code them like a couple. Like, I don't understand why they would do that unless they will actually end up being something, you know what I mean? Because, like, just the way that he's always so attentive to Will, like, the way in this scene he thought that if you think about it as well, in one of the last scenes we have in season 3 of them is when Will throws away his game or something. He puts it into, like, the donation box, And I actually recently made an edit of this, but that's why I remember it. But oh, sorry, my cat's. But he puts it in there, and then Mike's like, dude, that's the donation box, you know. And then he's like worried that will play the game without him, like essentially with like other people, like finding new friends and stuff. And then Will is like, that will never happen, and then they smile at each other. And it's just such a freaking good scene, because in reality it's like the way that Finn acts this scene out, obviously he will have been directed to act it this way. And it's just like the way he acts it out is so, it's so like having a secret crush on your like best friend scene type of thing, you know what I mean? Like that's what it gives. Like the way Mike is in the scene, it really gives like secret I like you, you know what I mean? I don't know, like it's so interesting. And I just love the way that they are in this whole show. I really do.
I have no idea what's gonna happen next. But whatever it is, I think we should work together. I think it'll be easier if we're a team. Friends. Best friends.
Cool.
Cool.
Lucas tells Will to just lie and like not say, you know, just cheat and not say that it was a 7. But but Will tells the truth to Mike when Lucas and Dustin have left, you know, on their bikes. So he tells him the truth. He literally says it was a 7. Like I got by the Demogorgon, and then obviously, I mean, Will gets got. So, but it just showed that like he did the fireball thing. That's the whole. I don't know. Like I just love the fact that he told him the truth. Like it was like everybody, you know, you're supposed to tell the party the truth and stuff like that. And I just loved that as well. I don't know, like I do feel like there's so many things that have happened with like the Byler stuff. I just think that it'd be so weird if they end up having it where he is just straight and like Will, like he gets rejected, like Will, because obviously there's got to be something to do with that painting, you know, the painting that like Will painted himself, but he tells Mike that it was Elle that made him like paint it, you know, or commissioned him to paint it. It's like obviously that's going to be found out because we know that the painting's going to be in season 5, so there's got to be some reason why it's going to be there. So they obviously are going to have it for maybe like Mike is going to ask Elle about it, and Elle, because I don't even think Elle's ever seen it either, so she's not even going to know what it is. She's probably going to ask him, in fact, like, where did you get this from, or like, is this Will's painting that he's been painting for ages? Like, she's not even gonna know. So obviously they're gonna like, he's gonna find out that Will is lying and he never actually got, like, he was never actually asked by Elle to paint it. So he's gonna realize, like, Mike is gonna realize that like Will painted it for him, you know, and he is the heart. All of the stuff that he was saying was for Mike himself, not from Elle, you know what I mean? I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think it would make so much sense if they were the ones that ended up together. I understand a lot of people will be confused because they won't have been reading the queer undertones of everything, but if you go back and you actually look at everything in a queer eyesight, you will read it differently, because there's so many, even if you aren't queer or anything, even if you aren't queer, like there's some people I've seen where they've written comments and they've been like, even my homophobic dad or whatever has seen like Elle and Mike not be great together, and his relationship with Will just looks like it's way better for him, or like he just seems to like Will way more than Elle. And it's like so interesting because it's like, that's a homophobic person, you know what I mean? That's a homophobic person reading into that, seeing that, even before I did. Like, that's insane to me. Like, it's insane that I was so dumb that I didn't even see Byler until, you know, so late. Like, I've been through so many different things, so many different people's videos of Byler, and it's just so interesting, like, seeing all these scenes from a different perspective, because obviously the first time you see a lot of these scenes, you don't really think about it, especially because a lot of the time when season 1 came out, I would have been like 15, 16, so I wouldn't have been thinking about anything, like I would have been in school, so I would have just been watching the show, just liking whatever characters I liked, you know what I mean? Like, Will's been my favourite from the beginning of this show, now obviously in season 1 he's not really there, so he kind of is my favourite from season 2. But like I didn't really have a favourite in season 1, to be honest. I think out of everybody it probably was Dustin, but yeah, I didn't really have a specific favourite. But in season 2, as it goes on, I love, now my favourite, I guess I can talk about this as well. My favourite characters now are Jonathan, Will, trying to think who else would it be, maybe Dustin as well. There's probably my favourite characters. But when it comes to ships, my ships are Byler and Jancy, but before it was just Jancy because I never really cared about Eleven and Mike either, to be honest. Like I always just assumed it was just them, you know what I mean? I never thought about Will being with really anybody. But yeah, Jonathan and Nancy though, like I think they were completely ruined in season 4. I don't really know why they did all that storyline. Like, just because Steve is like so much like of a fan favorite character now doesn't mean he has to be with Nancy again. It doesn't mean just because he's a better person now doesn't mean that they would be good in a relationship. Do you know what I mean? I just don't understand why they forced that in. Like, I wish that the whole conflict between Jonathan and Nancy was just what they had instead of just having Nancy be like a cheater. Like, obviously they didn't cheat, but like, I mean, she didn't cheat on Jonathan, but she's like emotionally cheating, which is so annoying to me. Like, I don't really like it at all. So I'm hoping that either Jancy are gonna be endgame, because I absolutely love Charlie and oh my god, is it Natalia? I love them together anyway. The fact that they've been together since like season 2 of the show is kind of crazy. Like, it's been like, what, so many years? I don't even know how many years it's been at this point, but it's been so many years of them being an actual couple, and it's kind of crazy, for real. Like, I was not expecting them to be, I mean, I don't know why I wasn't expecting them to be together still, but like, it's just crazy to me that you wouldn't end up, it's also like the Jancy, like so many of the Jancy people, like background people, what are they called, like stunt doubles and like dubbed voices and stuff, like so many of them are actual couples as well. Like, they got into couples like after being in the shows and stuff, so loads of people fell for each other being Jancy, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it makes the most sense for Jancy to end up being together. And also there's another thing, and this is nothing about Byler, but like, if anything actually happens to the Byers, I will be so mad, because like, Will's been through so much, I don't want him dying. Jonathan's been through so much because of the fact that Will went missing. Like, he was, you know, him and Joyce were absolutely, you know, trying to find out what happened to him. Like, Jonathan pretty much thought that he was dead until everything happened, you know? So it's just awful. Like, also, I don't know if Jonathan's I don't know if Charlie's first role was in Stranger Things, but the fact that he was acting against, like, in pretty much the whole of season 1, he was pretty much acting against, you know, Joyce, Winona Ryder, and he did such a good job. Like, I didn't even think about how good of a job he did, because obviously I was like 15 back then, but he was amazing, like, for real. Like, just the scenes he had with her, like, sometimes he was like shouting, you know, like, she just looked crazy a lot of the time, and it's because she knows that her son is like in the walls, or you know, things like that. She knows that he's alive, and Jonathan's just there trying to keep her sane, but it just looks like she's crazy. But obviously he starts believing her, but it's just so sad. Alright, so it's at a different point in time. Like, I've kind of been watching some bits of Stranger Things and some other things, and I did not realize that at the end of season 4, Eleven and Mike aren't even really on speaking terms. Like, I didn't even remember that. Like, I guess it has been 2 years. Of course I've forgotten a lot of things, but I didn't even realize that. Like, I wonder, you know, because when he talked to her, he's like kind of reciting what kind of Will was saying in the van, but also like, she probably doesn't believe him, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm pretty sure that they were drifting apart anyway, and then wasn't he talking about stuff about like being a superhero, you know, like she is his superhero or something? I don't really know. And that's her whole conflict, right? She doesn't want to be just a superhero. She doesn't, like, because she didn't have powers for so long, and she just felt like Mike only liked her for the superpowers that she has, which, if you think about it, the only reason he was kind of like keeping her around in season 1 was because she could find Will, you know what I mean? Like, that was the whole reason that he kept her around. So it kind of makes sense that her whole, like, the whole thing that he fell in love with her was, like, the fact that he was trying to save Will and the fact that she was helping him. So it kind of makes sense that that would be the case, right? And also, obviously, it makes sense why 11 would fall for him, because he was, like, keeping her safe the whole time. So it's just so interesting to me, like, how all these things kind of do overlap. Like, I didn't realize how many things actually work well. But, like, the obviously, I remembered that last scene that they have of, like, everybody standing around. Like, 11 was at the front. I'm pretty sure Jancy were together, which I loved. And then Will and Mike were stood together. And I think Hopper and Joyce were also stood together. So the couples were, like, all stood together, and then 11 was by herself. You know what I mean? Like, I really do think that that was, like, setting everything up. Like, I really hope that what the Duffer Brothers did is, like, the way they wrote it, I really hope that the people that actually, you know, fully all helped with this, like, because, like, everything, even, like, the wardrobe and even, like, the things in people's rooms, like, really do showcase their feelings and, like, everything, because even Mike had, like, drawings from Will in there, in his room in a lot of the seasons and stuff, and whenever he saw his room he still had those things, and apparently he has, like, a binder of his stuff. Like, I just think it's so insane how so many things were, like, so planned out. Like, it makes so much sense that people wouldn't realize you know, about all these signs that, like, Byler definitely has, but it also makes sense that all of these signs could just be everybody going insane, and, like, we're all just, like, reading so much into it. It's so interesting to me, every single time they have a fight, every single time Mike and Elle have a fight, he never goes up to her to resolve it, you know what I mean? He never follows her to resolve it, but every single time him and Will have a fight, he's always going to apologise. Like, a lot of the time he goes to apologise first, even, I mean, like, whether it's both their faults or whether most of the time it is just Mike's fault and he's the one that needs to apologise anyway, but he's always going straight to Will. You know what I mean? Like, he never wants to have a bad relationship with Will for any time. Like, he always wants to be okay with him. And it's just so interesting to me. Like, I really do think that at the end of season 3, because they hug at the end of season 3, and then he's, like, so awkward in hugging him in season 4 when he comes to visit. Like, he's fine hugging Elle, but then he can't hug Will. So I really do think that, like, season 2, season 3, any of this, maybe even season 1, maybe that was when they like, maybe from the very beginning of the show they wrote it so that you know, they wrote the idea of, like, Will and Mike ending up together. I don't even know, honestly. I don't even know how they did, when they decided to have them possibly being together, but it's either, like, they're queer baiting us, because obviously a lot of the fans are Bylers. I think it's so interesting because a lot of the people I've seen talk about this are, like, girls, you know what I mean? It's not usually, like, I don't really think I've seen any guys talking about Byler. I don't think I've seen any kind of nobody in, like, reaction space has ever talked about Byler either. Like, no one who reacted to, like, season 4, no one who reacted to, like, any of the seasons, no one's ever talked about Byler, and I don't even think anybody who actually watches the show, like, reaction wise, I don't think anybody would be thinking that Byler could even be a thing. You know what I mean? I really don't think they could. But I think that what's going to happen possibly is that Mike's going to talk to Elle about the painting, maybe in, like, maybe a sweet moment or something, and then she's going to say, like, oh, I didn't get Will to paint you anything, and then he's going to realise that Will lied and it was just, like, it's Will's painting and everything. I think that in that scene maybe they're going to break up. I do think that Elle and Mike need to break up. Even if Byler doesn't end up happening, I still think they need to break up because the whole relationship is just so messy, and it really is just, like, so like, it's so built upon the superpower stuff, and I do think that Elle needs somebody. I mean, she doesn't need anyone, to be honest. She's got a great dad in Hopper. She's got, like, a great foundation of people. Even if she just stays with friends with Mike, I think that'd be way better. You know what I mean? I think we can all just be happier with that. She deserves to, like, actually be happy, and I feel like Mike gives her so much like sadness a lot of the time. And that's mainly, I think it's mainly because he's being like homophobic to himself, you know, like he's being like, he needs to like fully grasp that he likes Will. And I think maybe from season 3 to season 4, like when they were on that break, you know, when Will had left and, you know, it was just like Mike and his friends, and obviously Will, I didn't even realize, but I think that was in season 5, right? I mean, season 3. When we got that scene where like Will starts crying in the car. So first we see Mike when they drive away, right? Mike, and then they were on their bikes, I think, so they were going back home. Will was crying in the car, and then it goes to Mike, and he walks inside and hugs his mum, you know, like she's waiting for him. And also in, I think, season 1, when when um Will when Will's like disappeared, you know, when he's gone, when he's been taken, Mike's mum talks to him because I'm pretty sure she knows that they have a special relationship, and I'm pretty sure she thinks possibly that he could also have liked him.
All this that's been going on with Will, I can't imagine what it's been like for you. I just, I want you to feel like you can talk to me. I never want you to feel like you have to hide anything from me.
Now, this is literally the type of thing that you would say to somebody when you know that they're gay, or you know that they are like, they like somebody but maybe they don't know it yet. So you're a parent, you're seeing what you're seeing, right? And she's like, obviously this is in a time where being gay is like, you know, trashed upon completely. So you could never be out like a lot of people are out right now. So obviously her saying that would be so like loving. But it's also like, obviously he doesn't understand what she means in this moment because he literally is a child, like he is a kid. He wouldn't understand it. I do think that he started to understand obviously his feelings by season 3/4. Like I think in season 3 at the end of the season is kind of when he realizes, but it's definitely season 4, like it's in the middle of that time when season 4, like when they're not like seeing each other, that he kind of realizes. I think that's why he was so weird in season 4 with Will, and then obviously why they have such actual cute moments in that season too, because he does actually like him, but he just doesn't know if Will also likes him. Like I'm pretty sure he knows that Will is gay, but he doesn't think that Will would like him, you know. But it's like, it's so interesting with the whole, because even in the painting scene, you know, when he thought about who painted the like when he saw the painting and he said, did you paint this, you know, he was so excited about it. And then Will says, yes, yeah, I did, but then he says about Elle, and Mike loses the smile that he had. Like he still has, I think, a tiny bit of a smile, but it's not as big. Like he then thinks that like Elle is the one that designed this, right? So it's like in that moment it was like that Will was like essentially forcing, not forcing Mike to like think about 11 again, but it was like, it was kind of like, I don't know, it was such an interesting scene because you could read it two different ways, where Mike is straight and like he's not seeing Will's feelings, and obviously Will show like doesn't want to show his feelings either, so he's giving it to Elle. So everything he says is obviously about himself, but he's saying it as if it was Elle that was saying it, you know. So Mike will be so confused because Mike is so dumb at times. He's very, like, he's just very stupid at times, so he doesn't understand when it comes to certain things. So he definitely won't understand when it comes to what Will's going through in the fact that he likes him category, because he's so dense when it comes to like actual love slash like relationship stuff like that. So I don't know. But it's so interesting, y'all. It's so freaking interesting. It's just so interesting because it's two guys as well. Like if it's two girls, you wouldn't think much of it, I guess. Where Mike goes like after Will every single time. You just think that You know, like a lot of the time in shows when it is just like two girls, it's like because they're emotional or whatever. But it's like with two guys, you would expect it to just be like because um you wouldn't expect two guys, I guess, to speak their truths and stuff a lot of the time. But it's so interesting that Mike always knows when he's just done wrong. Even when he says just like the most insane stuff, sometimes he knows straight away that he's done wrong, and then he apologizes straight away. You know what I mean? I just find it so interesting. I really do. I just don't know how they would spin it off if they don't make Byler happen, or at least they don't have like confessions or you know something. You know, I just don't know how they will do it, because otherwise that means in season 3 and season 4 that Will is like having a terrible time every season. That means Mike's just been terrible. Like he's just been an awful person in both of those seasons. Like he's just been like, because that hug in from the, I mean, I don't know what that hug was, y'all. Jonathan and Argyle being there. That was just a terrible hug though. It's like he like did like a side hug, but it was so weird. Like, alright, so that's the end of this video. I kind of did more, so I'm gonna do a separate video for something else, because I talk about like Jancy and Stancy and stuff as well in the clips. But I kind of wanted to split it up because I didn't want too much Jancy in this when this is about Byler. You know, so I'm gonna do, and I also have kind of other theories as well. So I wanted to do that in a whole separate video. So this is the one that's gonna go up as Byler. So hopefully it's good. Like there's definitely more things too to talk about with Byler, because there's like so many different scenes where they have like contrasting things, and obviously if it's like queer baiting, that'll just be irritating. But I mean, we can never be sure what anything's going to be these days. Things can be queer baiting, things may not be. You know, it may just be our minds going crazy. So anyway, thanks for watching if you did.
That was a lot of like nonsense.
Can but be kidding.